So here we are. The preseason is almost over and we are almost into season 2 of the eFormula series live here on ESBN. But before that, before we go into the new season, we are bringing you a special event here tonight, today with the eFormula series as they hit Imola for a pre-season event. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sam Cooper Bennett here with ESBN, the Esports Broadcasting Network, and joining me in the booth is none other than Mr. Frank Marchese. And Frank, just a pre-season event, no points on the line, but we're going to have some fun and action here with the Formula 3.5s.
Without a doubt, it's a preseason event. It's a fun event, and it's at a legendary track, the same track that Formula 1 is at this weekend, the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Dino Ferrari, simply known as Imola. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic race. Again, a little bit more of a different race than what we're going to be seeing normally during the season. This is, as you mentioned, a preseason race. This is also a recruitment race. So some of these guys are getting tryouts to see if they are going to even participate in season 2 of Formula E. So this is of eFormula, sorry. So this is going to be a proving ground as well as a fun race today.
Absolutely, as we're just ticking over into qualifying right now, and definitely going to be a fun thing to see. And we're going to see, is it Nate Seifker out on track first? And we do have a couple of drivers we're familiar with on this broadcast.
So right now I'm seeing Lubomir Maric has gone on track. Nathan Brumby on track. Martin Siedzma. Luke Groom, one of the new faces in here as well. Those guys all on track right now to begin their sighting lap around Imola.
Yeah, we're going to have a bit of a confusion here because we've got two drivers running the same paint scheme. Martin Siedzma, who's just actually crashed on the exit of Tamburello, and we've got Nate Seifker also in a Red Bull scheme, so that's going to be making things ever so slightly interesting out on track. Let's go to the league owner, Danny Hoekstra, who's running a nice shiny new paint scheme for the new season, and very, very fetching. We've still got the orange on the car, but a bit of blue added this time round.
Yeah, it is nice to see. And for me, I'm a Met fan, an Islander fan, and regrettably a Knicks fan. So I'm all about the orange and blue. So I absolutely love that number 91.
Yeah, as we are looking at the number 91, just making his way down towards the this very tricky chicane here. This corner on its own is going to catch a lot of drivers out here if they don't get it right.
Yeah, without a doubt. At the top of the hill, that is a very quick corner, and it's deceptively tight. You can't really see the exit of the corner at the top of the hill because it dips away. I hope we're talking about the right corner.
I hope so too. Anyway, as
just thought of that in the middle because I was looking down and I didn't know if you were still on Hextra, if you were even talking about the right corner.
It's Lubomir Maric, and this is a driver we know very well from last season. Had quite a few good runs in that number 66 machine. Let's see if he can start the new season on a positive note here with a victory. He's got the fastest time so far. Nordners, Jon Inge Norns, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but he's in second with a 156.92. That's compared to the time from Maric, who's put a 143.17. Let's bring up the timing tower right now, and we're a bit behind the 8 ball here today. I will apologise. A couple of last-minute glitches came up, and we're only broadcasted on YouTube here today because Facebook.
Of those last-minute glitches.
Yeah. But regardless, we are here. We are ready to go racing, and everybody out on track right now. Let's take a look at one of the new prospective new drivers, Nathan Brumby. He's out on track right now. Let's see what he can put down. And he will go up to second with a 131.81. Now, the times are coming down thick and fast as Maric has put in a 129.68. Now, I knew the first times weren't going to be representative as we see the reigning champion Paul Elbrink out on track just coming for Tamburello.
Yes, speaking of Maric, that pole time that he set right now, just 7 1,000ths off of what he ran in practice. You were talking about Nathan Brumby. He's a full second off of his practice time. He ran a 1:38 in practice. He ran a 1:31.8 on his first qualifying lap in that number 3. And that's the corner that I was talking about. He's going through probably the most notorious corner on this track, Acqua Minerale, right now. But that corner I was discussing before, that was the corner when we picked him up. That was the corner I was discussing.
Yeah, L'Acqua Minerale, or translated in English, mineral water.
Wonderful, wonderful corner name.
I know, right? So Quick Shift Racing is a new team in this league this season. Luke Groom is part of that team, and currently sitting in second, half a second off of Lubomir Moric. Now, let's see if he can improve on that time as he's making his way through Ravazza. And out towards the main straight, runs a bit wide, and we saw in the Formula 1 qualifying, a lot of drivers did that. As he comes down across the line, well, actually, the finishing line is a lot later than the Formula 1. As he crosses the line, he gets a 130.541. As Moric improves, as Elbrink up to second now with a 129.992, picking up where he left off last season.
Yeah, I was going to say, Paul Elbrink in the two Radical cars. Those guys, I remember, I only did the one race at Monza last year and I had to work the week of Spa, and I remember those Radicals, those red beasts, I guess you could call them, were really, really quick there, and Elbrink showing why.
Yeah, let's go to another one of the drivers there. Mark Bruning is out on track right now in the other Tulip machine, and he's just making his way down to Ravazza. He's got another driver behind him. I can't quite see who that is. As Raul Alvarez puts his car up into P8, and that's another driver we know very well. Raul Alvarez making his debut this coming season, and very excited to see what he can do in this series.
Yeah, as well as Nate Siefker in the sister car. That's Martin Siedzma behind the 61 of Marcellus Bruning. Siefker is running the sister car to Siedzma as he goes around there. I believe that was out of Villeneuve, I believe.
Yeah, he's having a few setup problems, is Mr. Siefker. Plus, he's got a brand new wheel, so he's having to adjust to that as well. So, a lot of problems there for Siefker. He's usually a lot faster than he is. So, let's see if he can actually improve as this session goes on. We've got about 9 minutes left in qualifying. As there is Siefker just coming out of that left-hander. That is a very deceiving left-hander as they come down towards Acqua Minerale.
Yeah, it is. And now I could speak of it properly. It's a lot tighter than it looks, and the exit of it's downhill. So within these cars where you sit so low, it's hard to see the apex of the corner, period. But when you're looking and trying to find the exit of the corner, it's almost impossible because you are sitting so low and it is so hard to see. That's going to be one of the key places, not just in this race, but in the Formula 1 race as well. You get a good run out of there and a good run into Acqua Minerale. You could have a great passing opportunity going into the next set of chicanes, which is the Variante Alta.
Now we're looking at Dave Gild in the Tulip Racing UK machine. A bit of a name change from last season. They are the second team to Tulip Racing, and they are now known this season as Tulip Racing UK, so that kind of makes it a bit easier because I can't remember what the team was called last season. I got the memory span of a goldfish, but anyway, here is Nate Siefker again, still trying to put a lap down here as we're still waiting for times. Also from Alexander Davidson, I believe, is a late entrant into the session as well, as he comes through, as Siefker comes through the hairpin here. And Siefker is on an out lap, I believe, so...
I think this is because he had spun the last lap, it was discounted, so he's on a flyer right now, and he might have just gotten nipped again.
Yeah, as one driver, I think he announced his retirement at the end of last season. I'm not sure if he's going to be there next season. Javier Alvarez, he was a very fast driver, if you remember last season. Frank, I think he announced his retirement last season. I didn't see him on the roster for this coming season, so maybe that maybe his words rang true. He is actually retired now for season 2.
Yeah, and there's plenty of different reasons. As Siefker now with Lubomir Moric behind him, that could be for a multitude of different reasons. Just age, amount of time you have. Work-related issues, so it's if he just wanted to take a step back, good for him. This usually around the time you get that itch.
And Sivka did finally put a representative time down.
I think that was Lirtoro.
Yeah, it was
7. I think it was.
Yeah, Litru. Another name we're going to take time to remember here as this season goes along. If he is one of the new drivers in next season, then we will take time to learn his name. But as we go back to Lubomir Moric here, still sitting on the pole here with Paul Ilbrink, almost half a second back. Moric has actually improved even more while we were focused on Nate Sivka. 129.499 now for the driver of the 66.
Yeah, and he's not going to have a representative time here because of that number 7 sitting out at right at the entrance to that first set of chicanes. But Moric now, he's just going to try to find the space, Variante Alta, and then going down into Rivazza. See him now just kind of grubbing off the tires, getting set to set another hot lap.
We are getting down to the more important time of the qualifying. This is where they are going to gear themselves up for a monster run now, as we're watching Nate Sivka just coming out of Rivazza down towards the start-finish line. Now, this probably won't be a representative time. No, it won't be. A 136.661 for the driver of the 2. So this is going to be his time now to really put one down now, Frank.
Yeah, certainly is. He gets a little bit wide there. You don't want to be that far out heading into that the right-hander coming out of that first set of chicanes. It's not that it's a difficult right-hander to take. It's just not the preferred line. So he heads through the hairpin, slings the back end out a little bit up to the top of the hill. This is the corner that's going to give these guys a little bit of problems. Keeps it nice and tidy through there. Now the downhill run, the Aqua Minerale. And that might have just killed his time right there. That little off. Now headed down to the Variante Alta. Rolls it through there. And yeah, I think it was his run out of Minerale that.
Dave Gill going for a spin out of Aqua Minerale. And Aqua Minerale is another deceiving section of corners there that will catch you out if you're not careful. I've had it happen to me many times when I've run here in an Indy car. I'm pretty sure it's the same in these cars as well. As we're back with Luke Groom right now. He's still in 4th in the practice session as Paul Ilbrink is right there. As actually, Ilbrink has set the exact same time as Lubomir Moric in this qualifying session.
Yeah, now you're using ATVO or SDK?
SDK.
Okay, SDK's, well, for ATVO as well, SDK's timing and scoring is just a slight bit off. I have him as 1,000th off of him, but still, that's a great time. And for Ilbrink, who didn't set a time in practice, so he has gotten on top of that number 10 Radicals machine there.
Yeah, as we are slowly heading towards the end of this qualifying session. Remember, they will have about a minute or two before they wrap things up here. As yeah, you are right. It was 1/1000th of a second between Moric and Ilbrink. Then you're about 0.4 of a second. Well, I made that less than 0.4 of a second now. Back to Groom, who's just gone up to 3rd place, and Ilbrink getting it all wrong through Aqua Minerale.
Yeah, it's the Aqua Minerale. If there's a driver heading towards there right now that we can look at, is Gill's heading to Rivazza. I think Groom. Yeah, Groom is going to be heading up that way in the 09. If we can go on board with Groom, you can see coming up here, the top of the hill, you can see how little visibility you have. You can barely see the apex, and it's hard to find that corner exit. And now here's Aqua Minerale right here he's coming down to. The tight corner you have to let off, and then a hard brake into a hard right. Then that little kick to the left that throws you onto the straightaway. And this is Variante Alta here, one of the tighter chicanes you're going to find. as he runs wide there. Now this is pretty much a straight-on run. Big kink down here to Rivazza. Very akin to the Lesmos at Monza. And then you follow this straight all the way on to the start-finish line, where there used to be a chicane right there.
Yeah, there used to be, but they changed it out when Formula One left the circuit and decided not to run there anymore, as Groom will finish his lap there as qualifying just coming to an end. Alexander Davison was out on track for a short while, but unfortunately has not set a time, so he will start in 13th and at the back of the grid here, as we've got one driver still out on track. That's Paul Ilbrink. I think he might have just called it right there.
Yep.
Oh no, he's still there. He wants that pole. Yeah. He wants that pole position.
Yeah, but he's going to be coming to the line here, and that's going to be the end of his lap. A little wide there. Wide again. No, he kept it nice and tidy through there, and he's going to take it right into the pits.
Yeah, he was on 2 yellow sectors there, so it was going to be a tough ask to try and get him to pole position. So he was slower coming out of the final part of the lap, but no worries. He's still going to be on the front row here at Imola. And big thank you to the league sponsors there, NRW Photography, Blonde Bullet, and Joe Real Timing. So those are the sponsors of the league. Obviously, we are here with the eFormula series. If you're watching here on YouTube, and we're only on YouTube here for this one due to a technical glitch preventing us from broadcasting on Facebook, good to have you along. Thank you for giving us the time here to show you what we're made of here on ESBN, and we'll show this league what they're made of, because these guys are very impressive. No matter, well, we've only been here twice, and they've absolutely blown our socks off each time we've been here.
Yeah, this is a very good group of drivers here, and again, as we mentioned, this is a preseason race for them. This is also a recruitment race for them. So as we mentioned, guys like Luke Groom, Nate Siefker, Raul Alvarez, these are all guys that are trying to race their way into Season 2. And if they have a good showing here, not necessarily a good show finishing-wise, but a good show as far as racecraft goes, we will see those guys in here next week when we head up to Lombardia for the first Grand Prix of the season at Monza.
Yeah, so with that, let's go to the grid for today's race. Starting up on the pole will be Lubomir Moric. He'll be joined on that front row by Paul Ilbrink. Row 2 will be Luke Groom and Dave Guild. Row 3 will be Danny Hoekstra and Nathan Brumby. Row 4 will be Nate Siefker and John Inge Nordnes. Row 5 will be Mark Bruning and John Letro. And bringing up the rear of the field will be Raul Alvarez, and actually not bringing up the field will be Raul Alvarez and Martin Seedsma. And starting at the back of the grid is Alexander Davidson, as we're green here at Imola, and straight down to turn 1 we go, as here comes Moric leading them in towards Tamburello, and everybody looks like they might have made it around safely. No problems so far, and we are racing here at the Imola circuit here, Frank.
Yeah, we're so used to having a pace lap here. Preseason for everybody is Ilbrink and Moric are starting to streak away from the field. Looking back at the middle of the pack there, still a decent amount of racing. Nate Siefker has moved up a couple of positions, so a good start for some of these guys here on a standing start, which can be tricky for a good amount of guys.
So Siefker up to P6 already, and he's behind Dave Guild, who actually got jumped by Danny Hoekstra on that start. So good start for the man in the tulip car, up to P4 already. And look to the back of Luke Groom as they come to the Variante Alta, as we're going to see if everybody makes it through the chicane easily, and it looks like they're all going to do it pretty well.
Yeah, these guys have had, again, for guys that haven't raced with each other in quite a while, or in some cases at all, a very, very good start. Here is Guild locks up the left front going into Rivazza 1. A little wide coming through Rivazza 2, and there is one lap around this beautiful circuit in Emilia Romagna. There's a battle for the lead here between Maric and Ilbrink.
Yeah, there is, as we are leading down towards turn 1, the Tamburello, and there goes Ilbrink to the lead for the first time here today, and he is, like I said, going to be looking to pick up where he left off last season, won the championship. He is the reigning champion coming into Season 2, and that man behind him, Lubomir Maric, will be the man to try and take it away from him. Obviously, we're going to have other drivers like Manuel Domingo, and a whole plethora of other drivers trying to take it away from him. So Ilbrink is not going to have it all his own way in Season 2.
No, certainly not. I mean, the one race that I saw him in at Monza last year, which was the penultimate round of the season, he was just absolutely dominant, really did not face any sort of challenge after about the first couple of laps, and Ilbrink now trying to...
As Bruning runs wide. Sorry, I was just looking at Mark Bruning.
You're right. As Ilbrink's starting to run away from Maric, but Maric doing a good job of not really letting him get too far.
Not at all, as there they go into the two Rivazza corners, and not too far behind is Luke Groom, who's still got Danny Hoekstra right behind him, and that's a 4-car breakaway. Then you've got a few seconds back to, that's Dave Gill getting passed by Nate Siefka there, and he's going to get passed by Alexander Davidson, who started shotgun on the field here, remember. He's already up to P6 now, so great drive by the Tulip Racing UK driver.
Yeah, Guild locked up that left front again going into Rivazza 1 and just had no run out of Rivazza 2 and essentially just pulled over and let Siefker and Davidson go. As now here comes Davidson looking on Nate Siefker. That would be for the 5th position through Villeneuve, and now Siefker going up through the hairpin is going to have the advantage as Davidson runs a little wide, is able to keep it up there with him though.
Yeah, as they're still side by side coming up towards this left-hander. Now they need to be careful. Can't really go side by side through here unless you want to incur a penalty or go off too far wide. But they're still side by side as they come down to Ackerman and Riley. But Siefka having to give it up, knowing how tight that right-hander is going to be.
Yeah, we know what Siefker's like when he races. We know he's not going to give up a position easily. And that was about as clean and as tough as you can race somebody, especially for a preseason race.
Siefka goes off. Siefka off, and that is going to do it for his day. Unfortunately, he is out of this race now. And all it took was a simple mistake out of the Variante Alta.
You can see how much that car is bouncing coming out of Alta. There's no grip in those tires. And just hits the gas a little too hard on the curb, and that was it. And with no fast repairs, Siefker's day is done after about 2.5 laps.
Yeah, I'm going to get a better look at this as they come through there. And he just lost it on the exit of the corner, and it's very easy to do. As we go back live again, Paul Ilbrink's still your leader. And Maric still not letting him get away. Luke Groom and Danny Hoekstra really not far behind either. So this 4-car breakaway really starting to kind of heat up between the two battles we're seeing right there. And Alex Davidson right there has pulled away from Dave Guild, who's started to fall behind. And you got Nathan Brumby, who's a few seconds behind him in the Monster number 3.
I think Maric actually led that last lap, and Ilbrink has gotten around him again. That's what I'm showing, because iRacing Timing and Scoring, for those of you who don't know, updates after every lap. It's showing Maric number 1 right now, when clearly he's not. Coming out of Rivazza 2, those guys.
Yep, and down the main start-finish straight.
Yep, as Ilbrink still in the lead, but Groom and Hoekstra are really not that far off. We thought with how quick those guys were in qualifying, speaking of Ilbrink and Maric, We thought they would have ran away from the field, but no, Groom and Hextra are still right there.
Yeah, and Groom is under pressure now from Hoekstra. And it's Hoekstra, Frank. We've talked about this.
Sorry.
As they come through Villeneuve. And Hoekstra's even closer this time round, so he might have a shot at some point. But one thing we forgot to mention about this track here, Frank, it is very difficult to overtake around here.
It is, and there are... Chicanes typically are the best place to try to outbrake somebody to get a move on. But these chicanes, this track in general is very, very narrow, and these chicanes lead to more chicanes, and it's just really hard to build up enough momentum to get a run. Like going here with Groom and Hoekstra, going into Alta, you would think Alta's a great place to try to dive and make a move, but you can see how tight and how severe that chicane is. It's such a hard place to get a pass done.
Absolutely, as we're looking at Hoekstra there, he's just backed off a little bit coming down towards Rivazza, and I've noticed that, something's happened to Davidson here. He's dropped back behind Guild and Brumby, so he's had a issue somewhere. Dave Guild is back up to fifth place and is starting to reel in Hoekstra and Groom.
I think this would have been on... Oh, it was. This was... He had lost it coming out of Rivazza 2 the previous lap and slid. Didn't touch anything. Stayed on the racing surface the whole time. But that's what's put the 55 of Davidson back.
That's Brumby into P6 now. Davidson in P7. Nordnes is in P8 now. The Norwegian going to be looking to move his way forward, just keeping to himself at the moment, as it seems, as Letro is back there in P9 and Raul Alvarez is in P10 as Nordnes having big problems there.
Yep, just a spin. We've seen it a lot. That's coming out of Villeneuve and into the hairpin to go up the hill. We've seen guys already running off, and I think he's gonna. Just looking back at it now, he's gonna just spin coming off the curb, and he hit that tire barrier a ton, right under the 100-meter board on the opposite side of the circuit. So he definitely has wing damage in that number 64.
Yeah, back up the front, and Paul Ilbrink still ahead by just less than a second over Lubomir Moric. Luke Groom has fallen back to 3 seconds behind the 66 now, as Hoekstra still just stalking behind him. And if you look at the background there, Frank, Dave Guild is getting closer and closer to these two now.
Guild last lap ran a 31.4. And the two guys in front of him, Groom and Hoekstra, were both in the 32s. So Guild is running a second quicker than the pair in front of him. That number 98 is coming.
As Nordner's bringing it to pit road with the damage that he incurred from that spin. Davidson back up to P6 now. We've had problems for Nathan Brumby, who's back down there in P7. The Australian losing a spot there. The Brit there in the number 55, Alex Davidson, moving back into P5. The other Brit in the Tulip Racing UK car in the top 5 now. Let's go back to the battle between Groom and Hoekstra. The American trying to stay ahead of the Dutchman, but the Dutchman just not letting him get away.
No, and there comes a point where you got to put the nose in at some point, and these guys are now 4 and 4.5 seconds off of Ilbrink. When we highlighted them just a couple of laps ago, they were 2 and 2.5 seconds off. So I have a feeling that Hoekstra's being held up just a little bit by that 09 of Groom, and they really can't afford to wait much longer because Guild, as we mentioned, is on his way.
That means only 2.7 seconds off the back of Hoekstra. And here comes Hoekstra now to the inside of Groom towards Tamburello. Is he going to make the dive move? Almost contact between the two, but Hoekstra's going to get the move done. Hoekstra goes around, and Groom has to go over the sleeping policeman. That's going to let Guild through. Guild's going to have a few problems getting around Hoekstra, but gets around regardless, and is now going to be right in the back of Luke Groom, who's probably got some damage after going over those speed bumps right there on the through the corners.
Yeah, just a little bit, and that happens so often with the way you come off of these curbs, sometimes it could just take that rear tire and throw you around, and that's exactly what happened to Hoekstra, who's fallen behind Davidson. But yeah, definitely, it doesn't look like there's any physical damage on that 09 of Room, but right now, Guild is right there, and he's going to be eager to pounce.
Yeah, so we're just looking back at the incident between Hoekstra and Groom, but there is Guild right on the back of Luke Groom. Alexander Davidson setting the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:30.66. So good to see him still putting down the lap times here.
Yep, the 98 and the 55 are the two sister cars, the teammates, and they're both two of the quicker drivers on the circuit that are not named Paul Ilbrink or Lubomir Moric.
Yeah, and with that incident between the 09 and the 91, Ilbrink and Moric have just simply sailed away at the front now. And it's going to be a battle between these two. Now, Moric is falling back a bit off Ilbrink, so I wonder if that's a bit of strategy there by the 66, just to save save the tires and fuel for an attack later in the race.
Yeah, and because this is a preseason race, this is a race where you can play around with the strategy a little bit, where you can mess around and do different things that you wouldn't normally do during a regular race to see if it will work. So maybe you can use it during a regular race. I don't think they're going to come here during the regular season. But still, it's nice to be able to play around with different strategies and different ways of driving to see how you and the car both handle it.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're still seeing this battle between Groom and Guild for the third spot. Two retirements so far. Martin Siedsma and Nate Siefka both out of this race. We are down to 11 drivers in this race. Nordnes is back out on track, but has had to repair some pretty significant front end damage on his car.
Yeah, he hit that tire barrier an absolute ton. So I'm really not surprised that he had been in the pits. And Siefker and Siedsma, those two are teammates, both running the same colors.
Not really, but
Siedsma, well, you know, Siedsma actually manually disconnected with about 5 or 6 minutes left in qualifying and just did not return. So Siedsma didn't even make the start.
And that's unfortunate for Siedsma because it looked pretty. It didn't look too bad in practice. So
no, not at all. He only ran that 152 out lap, but beyond that, he just didn't start today.
Unfortunately, as we go, we're still focused on this battle between Groom and Guild is even closer this time as they come down towards Acqua Minerale. Now, Guild's got to pick his spot here, just like Danny Hoekstra did before he had that spin through. Oh, and Guild goes around now!
Again, so easy to do through Acqua Minerale. Just, it might have... I'm not sure if he hit the curb or if he just planted it too early. And Hoekstra gets around him. So that's 2 spots lost for the 98. I would check Luke Groom for some of those Mario Kart bananas, because that's down twice. The driver behind him has had issues.
Anyway, so he comes down towards Tamburello. He's now going to face the problem that is Alexander Davidson bearing down on him as well now.
Some would say this is the furthest thing from Rainbow Road.
Very much so. But Davidson only 2 seconds back from Groom, and that gap is still coming down. So he's shaken off 1 Tulip race in UK. Well, 2 Tulip cars. Now he's got to face the threat of a 3rd one. So Groom's just not having good days. Not having a good day with Tulips.
Well, Groom is running a 132.2 his last time through. Davidson has been in the 50s. I'm sorry, in the 30s. Each of the last 5 laps. So he has been absolutely flying as compared to Groom ahead of him. But I wouldn't be too quick to get to the rear wing of Groom's car, seeing what happened to Hoekstra and Guild.
Yeah, as we see Davidson just making his way through Rivata there, just runs slightly wide, as I've noticed in the last lap or so, Paul Ilbrink has set the fastest lap of the race again with a 1:30.22. So lap times are starting to come down as this track keeps evolving.
And Davidson running a very comparable time as well at a 1:33.1. So Alexander Davidson running just as quick as the driver of that 10. Moritz is in the realm as well. He's in the 37s. And Groom now getting it together ran a 31.5, still 1.2 seconds slower than the driver behind him.
Yeah, look how much the gap has come down as well. It's less than a second now between Davidson and Groom. And remember, Alexander Davidson started at the back of the grid. He didn't even set a qualifying time. Already finds himself battling for a podium here. And that is partly due to some people having issues. Obviously, Sivka, Nordners and Hoekstra and Guild spinning out. But he's found his way up there, and he's really on the back of Groom as they come down towards Vanarante Alta.
Yep.
Well,
now he's might have a decent run here going into Rivazza. He's already peaking out. He's not going to make the dive into Rivazza, but I think he's going to try to pull the same move that Hoekstra tried to pull going into the first set of chicanes. He's going to have the draft all the way down this straightaway. Might be able to get the slingshot. Here he goes.
He goes to the left-hand side of Groom and will get the pass done into Tamburello. And up to third place is Alexander Davidson, but he's got a massive 12.5 second gap to make up between himself and Lubomir Moritz.
Yeah, I think 1 and 2 are pretty well set as Moritz and Ilbrink are running the same lap times. We're working lap 13 of 32 in this race. So Davidson has time, and the last lap he was quicker than both Ilbrink and Moritz, a lot quicker than Moritz than he was Ilbrink, but still he's running lead pace right now in that number 55.
Yeah, he is, and he's already set sail and got away from Luke Groom, who the next car behind him will be Danny Hoekstra, but Hoekstra is about 5.5 seconds off of Groom, and Hoekstra's not out the woods either. He's got the Tulip Racing UK car of Dave Gould right behind him. Now, this could be an interesting battle between the senior team and the junior team.
Yeah, and now we've seen how much quicker Guild is over Hoekstra and Groom. Only a tenth separated the two last time. I think Groom is going to try to pull the same move that his teammate just pulled to get third, but he looks to be too far back as they head down the pit straight. Crossing the start line under the bridge and into T1.
Yep, so Dave Gill just holding the station behind Hoekstra as they go for Tamburello. Now, we're only on lap 14 of 32. We've still got plenty of racing left to do. Plus, I believe we've got at least one pit stop before this is over.
I would believe so, yes.
So we are very quickly closing in on halfway as we're seeing battle here for P5 between Hoekstra and Guild. And I've just seen Alexander Davidson be the first driver to get into the 129 tier. A 129.97 there. For the driver of the 55, he almost loses it coming out of Acqua Minerale.
Yeah, and he was quicker than, obviously quicker than everybody else that lap, but 7/10 up on Lubomir Moritz, and only about 2/10 up on Ilbrink. So there's speed is coming, the pace is coming in the track, and Davidson is finding just about all of it right now.
Into Rivata he goes, and he's well away from Luke Groom. Danny Hoekstra still has Dave Gould right behind him, and that's a very intriguing battle. I wonder if they're trying to wait until the pit stops before they start making moves on each other, but Gould running wide out of Rivata still carries the speed with him as they come through the start-finish straight, and it looks like Dave Gould actually might have a run here now, Frank.
Yep, he certainly does. As you see Hoekstra defending that right side, and he'll give the position up to Guilds going into the first set of chicanes. So there's P5 changed, and now Guilds can set off after Luke Groom. Only, what, 6 seconds up the road?
4.5, actually. Not too bad.
Oh, 4.5. Well, there you go.
As Nathan Brumby running all by himself, he's got a 37-second lead over Jean-Frederic Lettre. As we've got a battle here between Raul Alvarez and Mark Bruning for what is 9th place here. As Ashley Alvarez has got a slow down there, that's going to cost him a position.
Yep, and that slowdown penalty issued because he cut one of the chicanes. I would have to assume he cut Alta, but it could have also been trying to get as much speed out of Aqua Minerale that he could have. Because now I believe the leaders are coming up on him. It is. And Moritz has the lead. Elbrink made a mistake somewhere.
Let's go back and see if we can find it. Oh, he hit the wall big time. Yeah, let's go back and see what happened. And he just got it all wrong, went flying over the bumps and into the wall. And that is going to be big damage there for Elbrink.
Just took way too much speed into Alta as there's Alvarez getting out of the way. But, and he almost has it, almost spins out coming through the hairpin. Now, but that's just him running way too hot and heavy. Going into Alta, you're better off just straightening up and taking the slow down, and he slammed that tire barrier.
Yeah, as he comes up through Aqua Minerale again. Let's see if he's going to have to bring it into pit road. He's got way too much damage on that car to keep it going competitively, as he's only got 9 seconds ahead of Alexander Davidson, and he gets to the corner right this time, but he's going to be way down on speed now with that damage.
Yeah, and they're coming up on Nordnes right now. Or pardon me, not Nordnes. Nordnes. Litro, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep. So guys are getting lapped on track here. Marcellus Bruning, the next car to be lapped, as you're right, Sam Elbrink into the pits.
Yep, so Elbrink bringing it down pit road, and he kind of had to. He had no choice. And he's let's see how long he stays in pit road here, because this is going to be it's going to be interesting to see how much damage he has to repair, or if he's just going to come in, get tires and go back out again. But I'm pretty sure he's got some required repairs there.
Trying to see with him going straight, he is ever so slightly right hand down on the steering wheel. Nothing crazy, but he is right hand down on the steering wheel. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that's you just had the toe knocked out. So in order to get the car to go straight, he has to have his right hand down. He's got to essentially be turning right to make the car go straight.
Yeah, and Elbrink's still in pit road repairing that damage as we're looking at Lubomir Moritz just got around Mark Bruning here as they come through Variante Alta. And Elbrink's still in pit road. Alexander Davidson now will be promoted up to second place with that one. Luke Groom promoted back up to third place as... there
goes Elbrink.
Yeah, Elbrink is out of this race, and that is a big hit for him, and that's...
No, I mean, he's out of the pits, not out of the...
Oh. Big relief. I nearly gave myself a heart attack then. So Elbrink back out of pit road. He's testing that car to see if it's competitive, and it looks like he's fixed a fair bit of it.
Yeah, he had left pit lane like right as Moritz was coming out, going into Rivazza. So that would signal to me that he got all of the optional damage fixed on that number 10, and it's not going to completely fix his toe out problem, but it'll certainly help it. As I wonder what goof a couple of laps ago said that the top two were pretty much set. I wonder which one of us two made that.
Yeah, some guy that lives in New Jersey, in the Long Island region of New York. I don't know. Oh, as Dave Gill goes around. Gill losing it out of Villeneuve, and that's the second time we've seen a driver do that here today.
Yeah, just trying to see what happened. Catches too much of the curb, and the back end kicks around when he lands off of that curb. And these curbs aren't necessarily high. It's just that if you hit them in the right spot, any curb will throw you around, and Gill hit it in just the right spot to get thrown around there.
Now, there's an interesting battle building up here between Danny Hoekstra and Luke Groom. Hoekstra is closing that gap between himself and the 09. And he's got a lap car in between them. That is Raul Alvarez. Who's had nothing but trouble these last couple of laps. He keeps getting slowdowns for some reason.
Yeah, he's trying hard. That, and he's also slowing down to let the lead lap cars go around him, as he's going to do the same thing now with Hoekstra. Just lets him go by. That last lap, though, Hoekstra is a full second faster than Groom these last two laps. So Hoekstra has moved right back up to the rear end of that 09 of Groom.
Yep, as we're looking at Hoekstra right there, let's take a look at Luke Groom. And there he is, just coming through the hairpin now. That Quick Shift Racing number 09. He's been fast, but just not able to get. He's just in a constant battle all the time since the drop of the green flag here.
Yep, doing as the message on his little windscreen slip says, give it gas and hang on. Goes through Aqua Minerale very nicely through there. You just see how tight Alta is. And Alta, those are high curbs on Alta, and it's designed that way to keep you from running through those curbs. Keep you from running through that turn. So he's got somebody's Groom has somebody in front of him. That's Litro ahead of him to get put a lap down, and into the pits comes Hoekstra.
The Hoekstra coming in for his scheduled pit stop of the race, and he's the first one to bring it down with a scheduled stop, as Dave Gill will be the driver to go around him here. But obviously, Hoekstra has made that pit stop now. Let's see how he can handle it now. Can he get the... He's going for the overcut on Groom, it seems.
Might be, yes.
Oh, God, Groom almost getting into it with Litro there.
Yeah, Litro trying to do his best to just move out of the way. But and you'll know this if you run multi-class racing. Sometimes you catch the lap cars or the slower cars in the worst possible spots, and they don't necessarily move out of the way you would expect them to. And I think a combination of that is what happened with Groom right there. Just caught him in a bad spot and didn't get out of the way.
Yeah, as Groom just coming up to Variante Alta. Let's see. I've noticed in the last few laps he has been taking it very easy through that chicane. I wonder the reason why he's not had so much speed. Again, when Hoekstra had that spin, Groom had to go over those very high bumps going through Tamburello. That might have damaged the undertray on his car.
It very well could have, and now here comes Groom into pit road. So it very well could have damaged the underside of that car, and one of the things that you would do to help keep the undertray okay and keep the suspension okay is you would stay off of the curbs. And as we mentioned, those curbs at the Variante Alta are the tallest curbs on the circuit. So definitely wise to stay off of those.
Litro into pit road as Hoekstra runs wide through Ravazza and goes around. So any chance of the undercut right now or the overcut on Groom now has quickly been extinguished as Groom is already on his way out of pit road here.
Yep, and that's the 91 of Hoekstra trying too hard to make up that second gap. And unfortunately, just said it perfectly. Just ran wide going through Ravazza 1 and spun it through Ravazza 2.
Now the gap is still there. There's only, I believe, 3 seconds between Groom and Hoekstra, but Hoekstra would have been in front of Groom if he didn't have that spin. Now, we've got Nordner's in a battle with Alvarez here, going through Tamburello. Now, this is a battle for 9th place. And Alvarez just not finding speed in that car. I think he might have had another slowdown here.
He could have possibly. He has Ilbrink behind him. Oh, wow!
And Alvarez going off through Villeneuve.
Well, he straight-lined it through the first chicane, the outside of the first chicane at Villeneuve, and almost T-boned Ilbrink. That would have been bad.
Yeah, it would have been, as we're looking at Alvarez. They're still behind. No, I believe that's Leotro that's just gone past them as well. So Alvarez dropping outside the top 10. He is literally the last driver running now. Let's take a look at Lubomir Moric. Now, he's not been in pit road just yet. Still holds an 11-second lead over Alexander Davidson, as we've just seen Bruning going off a little bit there somewhere around the track. We'll go back and take a look at that in a minute as Moric just making his way through the chicane there. There's someone going slow behind him. I think that was Nordner's. No, it wasn't. Who was that?
Behind
Leotro.
Yep, Leotro, and then he's got Nordner's ahead of him.
As Moric staying out for another lap.
Yep. I don't think any of the top 3 have come. A Guild might have come in, but I know the top 2 for certain have not. Is there somebody backwards in Ravazza? Because now here comes Davidson into pit road.
That's Leotro. Leotro's in, backwards in Ravazza.
Actually, oh yeah, it was Leotro.
It comes up on my timing and scoring. If I see a red dot there, I know who's crashed.
Yep.
As Davidson's in pit road.
Well, he just mounted that outside curb going into Ravazza 2. Just nothing for it after that.
Absolutely not. As Dave Gill moves up to second place now with Davidson going into pit road. And Davidson just taking his time. What would you say there?
And that tells me Guild hasn't pit. If he's gotten around Davidson, then that means Guild has not come into pit.
No, he has not, as Davidson's still in pit road. A very long pit stop there for the 3. I wonder if he's got some damage there from something, because he's been in pit road for a very long time now.
Might have been. He may have also gotten a speeding penalty, which is interesting because these cars do have a pit limiter.
Did he slow down enough for the line, though? That's the question. That line does come up. That line does come up very quickly on you.
It's right at the end of the pit entry wall.
Moric is in.
And here comes Moric. See where those 2 yellow cones are? That is the pit line. You have to be at 60K. Or what is that, roughly 35 miles an hour, roughly?
Roughly.
Right when you hit those yellow cones.
The Moric hitting his pit stall there, just collecting new tyres and fuel. He'll come out comfortably ahead of, well, actually, Dave Guild is staying out for yet another lap. He will take the lead here, it seems, but it's going to be very close.
Yeah, no, wow, it is going to be close. My goodness, yeah, he's got it, but it's not by much.
So, Moric will take that lead back when Guild does eventually pit. And Guild just coming out of Tamburello now. There is Moric just coming out of there as well. Nathan Brumby, we've not mentioned him for a while. He's not been in pit road yet. He's up to 3rd place now. He's about 8 seconds ahead of Luke Groom. And Brumby having a few connection problems here, I've noticed.
Yeah, he's going through the first set of chicanes now.
Yeah, he's definitely having connection problems.
Yeah, he's had quite a few. He's blinking a couple times. Every single lap is the 3 of Brumby.
As there is Luke Groom just coming through Villeneuve. And running all by himself. He's got a decent gap to Danny Hoekstra now. He's got a 10-second gap over the Dutchman. So Hoekstra's either just sat back and relaxed now and just let the race come to him, or, as I've just noticed, Brumby has had an issue somewhere. Oh, he spun it going through the left-hander.
Yep, that's... Again, we talked about at the top of the broadcast. That's a very difficult corner. High-speed, blind corner. And that's typically what happens. You just slide the back end through it, and Brumby, now he's got Groom behind him.
As Dave Guild in pit road finally for his pit stop. He will be the last driver to bring it in now as Lubomir Moric now retakes the lead. Nathan Brumby, actually he's not the final driver to bring it in pit road because Brumby hasn't brought it in yet. I think he will this time by, and he does. That's going to promote Luke Groom up to, I believe it will be second place, but Guild just coming out of pit road now. And there goes the American. And yeah, he will get ahead of Dave Guild through the pit stops here. So good good recovery there from Groom.
Yeah, and that's why the undercut is so big, is just you're able to set those times on fresh tires and get that gap down. And fortunately for Groom, he had been on those tires for Guild, been on those tires for quite some time, set some laps, and made up all of that gap between him and Groom, who were him and Guild, who was on the older tires.
Brumby, Bruning, and Nordner's in pit road right now. Nordner's coming in from P9, Bruning from P8. Brumby just finished his pit stop. He's rejoined in P7, quite a ways behind. He's 19 seconds behind Alex Davidson, who's up in P6. But look at this for a recovery. Paul Ilbrink back in the top 5 now.
Yep, and Ilbrink, that it helps when you actually come into pit road early. Again, just to set those times on the fast tires. And again, you're right, he's up to 5th, only about 5 seconds off of Hoekstra in 4th. So you know Ilbrink will have a shout here. We've only got, 7 laps to go, somewhere in that neighborhood?
As Davidson setting another fastest lap here, 30.130. So this man, Alexander Davidson, if he had kept to the pace and he didn't have that penalty, I reckon he would have been right up there with Moritz, you know.
He actually ran that lap. He was 1.6 seconds quicker than Lubomir Moric. Moric ran a 31.7, and Davidson ran a 31. So Davidson is flying right now. Yeah,
and that back end just gliding through Tamburello there as he comes down towards Villeneuve. It's very nice to see. If you've got a setup that's nicely hooked up around here, and Imola is not an easy track to get a setup for. It's very satisfying to see a car just absolutely gliding through the corners, and that's what we're seeing with Davidson right now.
And it's even more satisfying to actually do it, because these corners, they are very, very hard to hit. You said this is not an easy track to get a setup for. This is not an easy track to race. So when you get a perfect lap here, or when you nail a good lap here, it is so rewarding to be able to get that lap in. And just when you hit a corner right around here, you certainly know it.
Looking at Danny Hoekstra right now, he's about 5 seconds off the back of Dave Guild, and obviously with Guild with fresher tyres than Danny Hoekstra, he's going to be hard pressed for the 91 to try and catch up to the 98, as Guild 4.2 seconds off of Luke Groom. The gap not exactly coming down. The same for Paul Ilbrink. Actually, I take that back. Ilbrink puts it at 129.711. What a time there for the reigning champion.
He's moving. Davidson set a 29.9 behind him. So 5th and 6th, the two guys that made, I would say, the most costly mistakes, Ilbrink with that off at Alta, and Davidson with what we can only assume is a speeding penalty. Those two are driving angry right now, and boy, they're putting in some quick times.
There they are, as you see. Ilbrink just coming down towards Aqua Minerale now. The Dutchman, the reigning champion, the defending champion, going into Season 2, which starts next week at Monza. Let's not forget. And we enjoyed Monza. We were there. We had a very good time.
Broadcast.
Yeah, it was. So back to where it all started.
Yeah, it's such a great track to drive, such a fun track to drive. You always hear it's the temple of speed. It's such a nice flowing track to drive. There's really not a corner out of place at that circuit. It's a fun track. And then we go to another fun track for week 2. 2 weeks later, we go to the U.S. We go up to my neck of the woods, somewhat my neck of the woods, to Watkins Glen for round 2.
Yeah, and then round 3, we're off to Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix, and that is one I'm looking forward to. Always enjoy going to the Circuit de Catalunya, as that was your first 3 rounds. We don't know where we're going. They haven't really announced the rest of the schedule yet, but those the first 3 rounds alone, oh my God, I'm just looking forward to them.
I think they have, a total of 10 races?
They do, yeah.
Yeah, that they're going to schedule, so that's going to be an interesting look to see where we're going to be going for the remainder of the season. That's going to be a lot of fun.
As we're looking at the gaps here between the drivers here, as Ilbrink just runs ever so slightly wide through Aqua Minerale. Moritz picking up the pace now with a 1:30.264. So I don't think he's got much to worry about. He's 31 seconds ahead of Luke Groom right now, so he's got nothing to worry about. All he has to do is just cruise to the flag now, right now, as we're about 4 laps to go.
Yeah, and Groom, though, if he wants to finish second, he is going to have to hustle a little bit, because of the drivers in the top 6, Groom was the slowest last lap. He was the only one in the 31s. He just put in a 39 right now. Compare that to March's 32. Guild put down a 35. Hoekstra a 34. Ilbrink a 30 flat, and Davidson a 35. So still, Luke Groom in second place, the slowest of the lot, and with 4 laps to go, Guild has a decent chance of catching him still.
There is a battle brewing, though, between Danny Hoekstra and Paul Ilbrink here, as Hoekstra makes his way through the hairpin. There is Ilbrink also making his way for the hairpin, so the gap is about 2.4 seconds between the defending champion and the league owner, Danny Hoekstra. This is where it's going to get interesting for that position, with regards to that position, as the gap now between Guild and Groom now down to 2.4 seconds as well.
Yeah, this whole group here, they're within 15 seconds of each other from 2nd to 6th. And that really doesn't sound like a lot, but when you take a look and see that Moritz is 30 seconds up the road, 32 seconds up the road from Luke Groom, that just shows how close they are. Moritz right now going through Villeneuve, Groom just coming out of Rivazza onto the front straightaway. So that just goes to show how dominant Moritz has been.
Yeah, and the gap's still ever so slightly coming down between Groom and Guild, and you see Guild in the background right there, just trying to close that gap between himself and the 09. And I'm telling you now, if this is the racing we're going to be seeing in a recruitment race with only 13 drivers, imagine what we're going to be seeing next week with a full field, and they're racing for points here, Frank.
Yeah, and again, we had mentioned, we did kind of put the disclaimer up at the beginning that this was a recruitment race and that this was a preseason race. So this way, if we saw anything a little off, just know that's not how this series usually performs. But these guys have put on a mid-season race thus far in just a preseason race. So I'm even more excited for Monza next week than I was going into today.
And obviously we've made a few mistakes ourselves. Obviously I nearly missed the start there, so
It's pre-season for everybody.
Yeah. As the gap between Ilbrink and Hoekstra now down to 1.8 seconds. Hoekstra with 2 laps to go. It might be too little too late there for the man in the 10. Usually runs the 14. Probably has the number 1 next week, but yeah. Is it too little too late for Ilbrink here? Because we've got about 2 laps to go. And the gap isn't exactly coming down very quickly, is it?
No, Ilbrink just ran a 29.7 that last lap. Hoekstra hits the line now at a 32.
Oh.
And Ilbrink just ran a 35. A 29.5. My goodness.
Yeah. He wants that position.
Yeah, he needs to catch him this lap and put the move on him next lap. But Hoekstra still, you look a little bit further up the road, he's not that far away from Guild. And Guild now is going to be right on Groom. So we're going to have 2 battles here, 1 for 2nd and 1 for 4th.
Yeah, luckily for Groom, actually, I was going to say luckily for Groom, he put a lap car in between him and Guild, but Guild just getting around Bruning very quickly, and now this is your battle for 2nd place, really kicking off now as they come through Aqua Minerale. It's between Luke Groom and Dave Guild for 2nd place here, as while they're coming through Variante Alta, Lubomir Moric has just started the final lap here.
Yes, Moric is off in a class of his own right now. And Groom and Guild are about the same distance apart as Hoekstra and Ilbrink. Actually, I think Ilbrink's a little bit closer. Ilbrink, I think, is going to get Hoekstra here on this lap.
Yeah, so we're going to go back to Lubomir Moric and let him have his glory lap right here on ESBN as he makes his way through the hairpin. And it might have been a bit closer in this race here, Frank, if Ilbrink did not make that mistake.
Yeah, it's Ilbrink's mistake, and then you also have to think Davidson's mistake as well, because those guys have been quicker than him pretty much every lap since the pit stops. And granted, now all Moric had to do was just coast the car home. But Ilbrink and Davidson, it could have been a 3-way battle for the lead. Don't count out that 55.
Yeah, as Moric making his way through the Variante Alta for the final time here today. In this pre-season race, and we are going to be focusing on the other battles in a minute, but the gap is so big we can actually see him finish the race and still catch the battle at the end. As
Groom just put a move on Guild. Guild just put a move on Groom, but Guild was able to hold him off. As I think Moric is coming out of Rivazza right now.
He is, right. He is, as he comes down the start-finish straight. And this is going to be a big confidence booster for him as he comes down towards the line. Lubomir Moric wins the pre-season race. And like I said, going to be a big confidence booster coming into the first round as we're looking at the battle for 2nd place here between Guild and Groom. Groom going to cross him over here side by side as they're going to make the move down towards Rivazza. It's a big drag race now. And it looks like Guild might have the speed here on the space. Is Groom going to try and cross him over? But it's going to be Guild that's going to claim it into Rivazza 1 and Rivazza 2. And Dave Guild will claim it on the final lap here at Imola and come home in 2nd place. Luke Groom's still probably going to be happy with 3rd place here. Going back to the battle between Danny Hoekstra and Paul Ilbrink, that fizzled out very quickly. Ilbrink backing off and letting Hoekstra keep 4th place here.
Ilbrink made a mistake, I believe, and Rivazza, I'm looking at it right now, actually, no. Oh, yeah, he half-spun coming out of Rivazza 2, coming to the white flag, so that's what set Ilbrink back, just caught too much curb and half-spun it. So mistake from Ilbrink is what cost him 4th position, but what a battle between the 98 and the 09. It all came down to who had grip coming out of the slow corner, and it was Guild all the way.
Yeah, it was, and I'm going to try and see if we can get some interviews in here before this is all said and done, as I'm looking for... What am I looking for?
A 4-leaf clover.
We've got plenty of those. I live in Ireland, remember? As we are going to bring in the race winner, Lubomir Moric, as he's on his cool-down lap. Frank, I believe you got Lubomir with you right now.
I do. Lubomir, congratulations on that preseason, but a win nonetheless, and certainly a momentum boost going into the opener next week.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. It was quite a long and exhausting race here in Imola. As you know, the track is pretty difficult due to the curves and all the difficult corners. So yeah, I'm really happy that I made it to the finish.
Now, a couple of mistakes certainly helped you get that 30 some odd second lead that you had, 36 come the end of the race. Ilbrink had gone off at Alta earlier on, and then I believe Davidson either had damage or had a speeding penalty. Do you think you could have gotten around Ilbrink and then held him off if he wouldn't have made his mistake at Alta?
Well, initially, I thought I can keep up with Paul and beat him on the track. However, after he made a mistake, he started making really crazy laps, like mid-29. So he found his speed in the second part of the race. So if he did not make this mistake, then I think it will be very difficult to get ahead.
So you're going now this week into the opening race of the season. Again, this race may not count for points, but it certainly does count for momentum going into Monza to open up the season. How confident are you going into the Temple of Speed?
Yeah, the Monza is basically quite the opposite of this track. It's quite a fast race. A lot of slipstream will be used there, so I believe that there will be a pack of guys running wheel to wheel. So very difficult track, hard to guess who will be the winner here, because not only the speed will decide, but also a bit of luck you will get during the race. We also built a strong team together with me in Positive Sim Racing. We will welcome Manuel Hoyer, my new teammate. He is also a very good driver. So we do see it quite positive, I would say.
All right, anybody you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate?
Of course, the whole PSR team, the guys helping with the sets, helping with the track guides, our sponsors, JNT, Joe Real Timing, and you for the broadcast. Thank you very much.
No problem. There is your winner, Lubomir Moritz. Congratulations.
Thank you. Goodbye.
So that was Lubomir Moritz joining us in the booth. Now we're going to bring in the man that finished second, and that will be Dave Guild. Dave, you got a copy?
Yeah, I'm here, mate. How you doing? You all right?
Not too bad, not too bad. There's a big battle for you at the end there. Got to have been very exciting for yourself there.
Yeah, it was a struggle all race, but just having that longer stint on the tyres, I think it pulled me back into it. But yeah, towards the last 3 laps, I was like, I'm going to have him. And I just about caught him.
Now, it didn't come without its mistakes. Obviously, you had a couple of spins there, especially one coming out of Acqua Minerale. What are your thoughts on that one? It seemed like it's a very difficult corner to judge when you're coming out of there.
Yeah, sometimes you just get a bit oversteering and it just loops on you. But, you know what I mean? These are quite difficult handling cars to use. But, you know what I mean? Just a bit of practice and we'll get there in the end.
Absolutely. And definitely a big confidence booster coming home here in second place. Obviously, same team, different name. Tulip Racing UK, that's a new team name for the next season, right?
Yes, mate. Yeah, we've gone Tulip Racing UK. I was with Kevin Shine last year. He was Irish, but now I've got Alexander Davison as my teammate, and he's Scottish. So we decided to just go with Tulip Racing UK instead of Lysianthus.
Awesome. So looking ahead to next week, obviously finishing second. Obviously, this one didn't count for points, but definitely going to be a big confidence booster heading into Monza next week, right?
I don't know, mate. This will probably be the only time you get to speak to me this year, but I hope not. But yeah, yeah, looking forward to next week. But you know what Monza's like, first corner.
Absolutely, and we saw a lot of drama last time we were there, but good result for yourself anyway here today at Imola. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, say thanks to before I let you go and celebrate?
Yeah, thanks to all Tulip Racing. We've had a good set of practice together, and thanks to you guys for doing the broadcasting. You do a great job.
All right, well, Dave Gould, second place in the Tulip Racing UK machine. Congratulations to yourself, and we'll see you next week when we head to Monza.
Yep, cheers, buddy. All the best.
And you. Now that is a different dynamic. Speaking to a fellow Englishman, that's put a smile on my face. That one. Before we go anywhere, I want to speak to. I think we should speak to the league owner, let him promote the new season a bit, shall we?
I think so, but do we have Groom here? Actually,
we don't. I think he was a new. Driver, so he's not in the team.
Fair enough. I believe we should bring up Hoekstra.
Yeah. As we're going to bring up the league owner. Sorry, Danny, I didn't mean to kidnap you there, but a good first race to kick off the season for next week. You got to be happy with how things turned out today.
Oh yeah, I mean, we didn't expect many people to join in because it's a bit of a random race and it's not really like for any points. So yeah, I think it was a great turnout. I like 12 drivers or 13 total.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, my start was pretty good, and I think we had some good battles. And for a change, Paul Hilbrink didn't run away with the win that easy. So I hope that promised something for the season.
Yeah, and we brought you up here because we know you have a lot to promote for the new season. So anything you want to promote for next week?
Yeah, well, we have plenty of spots left, and we have quite a good and competitive field, I guess. And I think the viewers saw some great battles. And yeah, we'll have many more drivers on the grid next week, I'm sure. But there's still plenty of spots left. So all is broadcasted by you guys, which is amazing. I'm really grateful that you wanted to do it again.
We're more than happy to do it again, and we're definitely looking forward to the start of the new season starting next week at Monza. Let's talk about your race, though. You were right up there in the battles, especially with Luke Groom for the longest time. Unfortunately, having that spin and that put you back in the field. But coming up in fourth place, got to be giving you a bit of a confidence booster going into next week?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very tricky track, and especially with this car, this track with the high curbs, it's like if you make a tiny braking mistake or you miss the braking point or you steer in a bit too much over the curbs, you just lose it instantly. So I knew it was kind of easy to make a couple mistakes. Luckily, I grabbed the pace back a little bit. I got it back like 5-6 laps before the end. So I kept Paul behind, and he, fortunately for me and unfortunately for him, made a mistake, I think, in the last corner. But yeah, the touch with Luke is just a racing incident. I wanted to, give myself as much room to turn in the first corner. And he thought that he had no space left on his right, so he couldn't go anywhere, he said. And well, if that is or is not, I don't really care. I mean, it is what it is. I think it was a cool race anyways. And Dave Gill, for example, fought back amazingly to P2. And yeah, I think we had a couple spins also from the top guys, but still, showing the pace and the battle. So, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and looking ahead to next week, we are opening the season at Monza, which was the penultimate race for last season. You had a pretty decent finish there last time round. What are you thinking going into that one next week?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, it's always a tricky one, and maybe because it's at the start of the season, some people might try to prove themselves a bit. Especially in the first chicane. So I hope the mayhem will not be that bad. But yeah, of course, it will be a great race. I mean, the track is great, much overtaking possibilities and opportunities to have some great battles. So I guess you're up for a treat again.
I hope so, because I really enjoyed Monza last time, and obviously it's going to be fun this week. But anyway, Danny, congratulations on the fourth place, and definitely looking forward to next season. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, well, of course, my dad again spotting me the whole race. I want to shout out, especially you guys. Great for broadcasting us again this season, and you're growing really fast. And I hope we can help you with that and become even bigger. Special thank you also to my teammates, and this time it is 3 teammates because we have 2 teams. Mark Bruning, Dave Guild, and Alexander Davidson. They all drove great. We didn't have all the luck we wanted to, but still great races in the second place. For the rest, big thank you to all the viewers and of course everyone that participated in today's race. So thank you guys again.
All right, Danny Hoekstra, the Liga owner here at eFormula Series. Congratulations again, and we'll look forward to seeing you again when we bring the season opener at Monza.
Yeah, thanks. More fireworks to come for sure.
Absolutely. So that was league owner Danny Hoekstra, and I've got to say, Frank, if this is any indication for what we got towards the season, then I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to next week. I mean, it's as Danny just said, wasn't expecting too many people here. We got 13, only 12 took the start, but 13 for a preseason, kind of a blow-off recruitment race. There was a lot of fun and a lot of excitement. I think all the guys that were here for the recruiting aspect of this preseason race, I think those guys put on a fantastic show. A couple of them made some mistakes here and there, but it's road course racing and mistakes are going to be made. I think a lot of the guys that we saw here today, if not all of them, are going to be back next week at Monza.
Yeah, and Luke Groom is on the roster for next season, I just noticed. So he obviously wasn't in TeamSpeak for this occasion, so unfortunately we weren't able to get an interview with him. But before we go anywhere, let's get the results underway here, as we are almost ready to get out of here, as we are all getting ready to celebrate Halloween. So coming home with the victory was Lubomir Moric, coming home with a very easy victory in the end after a big mistake by Paul Ilbring. We'll get to that in a minute. Second place going to Dave Guild. Third going to Luke Groom, who finishes off the podium there for Quick Shift Racing. Danny Hoekstra in the Tulip Racing car will claim P4. Paul Ilbrink in P5. He was up there in the lead, but made a big mistake in Variante Alta that put him way back there in the pack. Nathan Brumby coming home in P6. Alexander Davidson, pit road penalty, putting him back in the pack there. Very fast driver. He comes home in P7. Mark Bruning in P8, Raul Alvarez in P9, John Inge Nordnes in P10, and John Lietro in P11. That is probably not going to be happy with that debut for Troll Sim Racing, but obviously they'll be back next week to try and improve. Nate Siefka in P12 had a difficult start to the race and put it on the hauler early after a big mistake out of Variante Alta, and Martin Seedsma not taking the green. Well, that is going to do it for us here today on ESBN. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow live on ESBN for the MPI Cup Series and the Dirt Esports Championship, as that season's starting to wind down. But for now, from myself, Sam Cooper, and from my broadcast partner, Mr. Frank Marchese, all that's left for me to say is keep it clean, happy Halloween, and we will see you tomorrow night for some more racing action here on ESBN. Have a good night.